15K Plus Random Movie Reviews, where we randomly pick movies from Metacritic's all-time movie list of over 15,000 movies, covering everything from the best to the very worst, bringing you our genuine impressions and candid opinions, whether we like it or not. Hello and welcome to episode 48 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews. This is Colin.
And this is Niall.
And this is our last movie pick from our best Oscar winners of pictures. Number 61, it was Lawrence of Arabia from 1962. It runs for 3 hours and 38 minutes.
Oh my God, does it?
Some people had to split it over 2 nights.
I could, that would be me. I got 2 hours in the first day and I was like, no, I can't. I'm so tired. I feel like Lawrence in the sand.
It had a budget of 15 million and a box office of 70 million. On Metacritic is a Metascore of 100 and user score of 8.6. So obviously, you know, if you're listening to this podcast, you know a little bit about movies, or you are just gluttons for punishment listening to us idiots ramble. But so directed by David Lean, who has a sort of catalogue of, you know, movies you've heard of: River Kwai, Bridge Over the River Kwai, Dr. Zhivago, and of course Ryan's Daughter. Oh,
hey!
And obviously with all those movies, he is a lover of a long movie.
Certainly is. And he uses the same actors again, like River Kwai. I think it's Alec Guinness again, isn't it?
Yeah. River Kwai and Dr. Zhivago's got Omar Sharif, obviously. Yeah, Ryan's Daughter. Doesn't Ryan's Daughter have the other guy, Anthony Quinn? No,
Quinn,
maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know though. I don't think so. Maybe not.
I haven't seen that movie, so I couldn't say without Googling it.
My wife loves that movie.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I have not seen it, so I can't give any commentary on it.
Yeah, I watched it a while ago. It's not that good. I don't know.
It's one of those talkies, is it?
Yeah. It's just an Irish one with a bunch of American actors putting on the accents.
Oh, great! Be gosh, sure, isn't it great? Let's have a Guinness.
Oh, yeah.
Top of the morning.
2 dudes wrote this movie. One of them, Michael Wilson, wrote Planet of the Apes, which was interesting. Charlton Heston's movie.
Damn you all to hell.
Yeah, it's thinking The Simpsons every time. Just,
no, Dr. Zaius.
Every movie has been done by The Simpsons.
Yeah, and even this movie.
Oh, yeah. So it won 7 Oscars. Best Picture, as we obviously have found out by picking it randomly. Best Director, Best Cinematography, obviously Art, Set, Direction, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, and Best Music Score. So when you hear that music score repeated 25,000 times through the movie, you'll realize you've heard it all before. Yes. So you start off, if you didn't know Lawrence of Arabia to start off, it's about 4 minutes and 20 seconds of just music on a black screen.
Yeah, that's a very weird choice. I guess it's just enough time for everybody to get into the cinema and sit down and shut up and wait for the movie to start.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what they were trying to do there. Otherwise, it's not a DVD choice, obviously.
No, I read that. I believe I read that it was David Lean's choice. He wanted to go back to the classics and, you know, get the sort of vibe and set the scene with the epic music score.
And it is an amazing piece of music. Let's be honest, like that central piece of music that runs through the movie. It's a banger, as they say.
It is a banger. So after that, we get a nice overhead shot. I can't go through every scene in this movie, but
we don't have enough time.
We'll mention it. We'll mention certain scenes and how they're shot, if it makes sense. But yeah, the first scene is our man Larry getting his bike ready and going for a motorbike ride, and I couldn't help but think of Ben Affleck's crash in Changing Lanes.
In their defense, this is 1962?
Yeah, true.
So yeah, like they've got some defense, whereas Changing Lanes not so much.
No.
And Ben Affleck versus Mr. O'Toole. Yeah,
and it's obvious that the camera is sped up as well. It's obviously done that way.
Yeah, Yeah, because you couldn't have your main actor just bombing along at 90 miles an hour on a motorbike, some back roads.
No, no. So basically, we get the end of Larry at the start of the movie. So there's no sort of tension builder about that. That's not what this movie's about.
Yeah, it does give one thing throughout the entire movie, though, is the fact that, like, he himself throughout the movie says he's kind of indestructible. He's different. Because you see him die at the start of the movie, which is clearly not in Africa or in Arabia, you know he's not going to die. So no matter what he does, he's untouchable.
Mm.
Um, and I think he was living his life back in Old Blighty with the same concept. So that's why he was driving like an idiot, and that's why he died.
Yeah, I think like by watching the movie straight through, it's a journey of a man sort of finding himself and his place in the world. If I can be so bold to say that, and him sort of, I don't know, he plays it very foppishly, and I don't know. I didn't read into T. Lawrence a lot actually at all. I wanted to, but I just didn't.
Yeah, he came across as somebody who it might be, on the spectrum a little bit,
Hmm.
and because he was slightly, he said it himself at the very start that I'm different. He kind of held himself above everybody else, yet not looking down on them, kind of weirdly.
Hmm.
Um, he's a very different character, very different from either the enlisted men or the officers. He did, while he was quite foppish, he didn't ascribe to the honor system that the officers had, whereas he had no problem hanging out with the lads and setting fire to his fingers.
Yeah, yeah, he was. Yeah, he came across. Yeah, and he does. I think I mentioned it later on in in my notes that he does mention something that's anti a sort of establishment with the military and more pro sort of you know uh, live free, die young, which I guess is what he did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He doesn't really. He's a strange character in that he's a pacifist, kind of, until he
Yeah,
really isn't.
until he enjoys it. I enjoyed it. He says
Yeah,
later.
that was quite a great scene, but we'll talk about that when we get to
Yeah, hopefully we get to it. All right, so there's a funeral.
it.
He dies obviously in a motorbike at the start. Spoiler alert. There's a funeral, and you get the general. There's a lot of talking head bits, and it's like I didn't know him. I didn't know him.
Then
So
there's a
you kind
bunch
of
of lads giving it stink about him, say he was basically an abomination. Then there's other guys who adore him.
yeah. So obviously he gets credit for doing the whole Aqaba uh, run in under 2 parsecs.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Thanks, thanks, thanks.
I thought it was Admiral Akabra.
It's a
It's a trap.
trap. Yeah.
Sorry, different movies.
Well, it's Alec Guinness, so it's fine. We can
Oh
do it.
yeah, yeah. There's a
Yeah,
nice connection.
yeah. So yeah, so you kind of get that sense at the start. All these sort of upper class tools that went to his funeral, like they're distancing themselves from him.
Yeah,
So you're like, okay, so it's going to have a little bit of a he's going to have a bit of a journey here, and he's probably going to do some things that make the establishment and the colonialists, kind of embarrassed for him, and we kind of see sort of how that works out during the process. It's sort of complicated in a way, but
it
he is a
certainly is.
complicated person. So anyway, we jump backwards to Cairo, and he's chilling out in the basement, and he has that. I thought that match trick would continue through the movie somehow. That I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It felt like something that would end up being a motif, but it isn't at all. And the line, the Mr. Potter, he's chatting to about the match, and he's burning his finger on it, and then Mr. Potter burns his finger on it, and then he says that the trick, Mr. Potter, is to just it does hurt, and just suck it up, basically. That line is used again in Prometheus, would you believe?
Oh,
Because the android David quotes him quite extensively in that movie because he's styling himself on it. This is
yeah.
why David looks exactly like him, or as much as he can, as some lad from Nace could.
So yeah, so he's sent up to the current colonel who changes halfway during the movie to Colonel Allenby, but this first dude is a bit of a lad, bit of a sort of a stickler for. He's not.
Yeah, he's not quite as smart as the Allenby character. He's not as ruthless either.
Yeah, so he's basically going. Um, but they're pitching for Lawrence to be going out into the field and getting stuck in, and we mentioned the Arab Bureau, and sort of basically going, yeah, you need to go out there. There's another white dude out there with the Bedouin to go out there and get Prince Faisal sorted.
Yeah, I think his main, well, his only task that he was provided was that he would analyze the, what Faisal's thinking is and how that can be used. So that's what he sent out with. He seconded to those lads for that for originally 6 weeks until a bit of an argument ensues, and it's upgraded to 3 months under sufferance.
Mm.
And then he's told, like, shut up and get out.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah, I have that bookmarked. Yeah, so just from that first office scene, I'm getting a sense Lawrence is soft spoken, he's mild mannered, he's well educated, and it's sort of in contrast with the army
Well, yeah, but
colonel.
there is that, and he's very well, soft spoken, and he's very polite, but all the while being incredibly insubordinate, which is great.
Yeah, yeah. Does have sort of Han Solo esque type thing about him as
Yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah.
A lot of the desert scenes obviously remind me of Star Wars as well, and just the sort of
God, the
I,
sand people.
yeah, I think George Lucas definitely took stuff from
Oh,
that.
huge! Like the scenes, the shots in this, some of them are very similar.
Quicksand one, that's the pit of Sarlacc, whatever that is. The
Well
Sarlacc
done.
pit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't help but just notice it because he did linger a lot on the Tatooine shots, Lucas, when he was
Yeah,
messing
similar
around.
similar to how these shots were taken here, and they're very effective shots.
Yeah, no, they're great. They're great. So yeah, it's basically his mandate is go out there for 3 months, find out Prince Faisal and his intentions, and try to get on his side and figure out shit. Oh, we have a very famous transition from the match blow to the sunrise. It's a nice. It takes
Mm.
forever, but it's lovely.
It is lovely, yeah, but like every other scene in this, it's stretched to the max.
Yeah, it's very stretched.
Oh, and when it is beautiful, it's quite long because of this, I think, because there's a lot of
Yeah,
content in this movie, and there's a lot of story to get through. And then if you then inject very long scenes of just scenery in the middle of it bloats it some.
it certainly does, and yeah, you can see the minutes racking up with just lots of panoramic shots with very minuscule characters on camels
Mm.
going through the sort of mammoth canyons of the Arabian Peninsula. So yeah, he's got a little assistant with him as he's going through the initial sort of foray into the sand. Um, he just mentioned something about fat country or something about Britain being a fat country.
Yeah, yeah. As he's describing to his guide, his guide's confused by him. And you're British, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, you're British, and you come from Egypt, and then before that, you came from London or Surrey, or where did you come from? He's confused by this because he's clearly, he's reasonably rugged, and he handles the desert quite well, straight from the start, and this
Yeah,
confuses his guide. But he says, "No, no, I'm different."
yeah, yeah. I don't know where he got the confidence from to live in a desert. It's interesting just to decipher that, and there's something obviously behind him driving that sort of confidence and bravado, and just I don't know. It's a deep character, and it's played well. Um,
Yeah.
Albert Finney was up for this actually. He was screencast and had a costume fitting and everything. I think it was a very long process to get Peter O'Toole as Lawrence.
And I think Finney would have been quite good as well, actually.
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
fan of Finney's work.
yeah,
But I think Peter O'Toole made it his own.
yeah, yeah, for sure. He gives his gun to his guide for some reason. Don't know why. Then he tries some Bedouin food, and that's quite funny. He sort of gulps it down and goes, yeah,
Yummy. In his face, he's kind of like, not really, but
yeah. You want more? No, no, I'm good. Oh, he does actually take more,
he
actually.
takes more, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Again, his bravado trying to get acceptance into the whole
Well,
lifestyle.
another part of that bravado, I think it was in the previous scene, is where they stop for water and he looks over at his guide and his guide's not drinking
Mm.
water. He's like, "You're not drinking?" He went, "No, no, I don't drink yet." Bedouin. And Peter's like, or Lawrence, I should say, is like, "Well, no, I drink when you drink then." And the other guide's like, "Oh, fair enough."
Yeah, yeah, it was in, yeah, again. Just trying to get in quickly to the scene.
Hmm.
Yeah, we've got lots of scenery here, more camel scenes. The
There's
poor
loads of
camels. I just felt
bloody
for
camels.
yeah, I just felt sorry for camels all throughout the entire movie.
See, have you ever ridden on a camel?
No, and I never will.
Don't, because
No.
I have once, and I bruised my nether region quite heavily.
Your
I don't know how
coccyx.
any. Yeah, if you will. Okay, that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
And the front, the whole lot just ruined. Yeah, it's not a pleasant experience. I've been on a horse and a camel. Horse is okay. Camel, God, how you would cross a desert like that is quite impressive. I guess there's a rhythm to it.
Well, so you must have sort of been sitting sideways on your sofa then trying to get through this one.
Yeah, pretty much.
80% of the movie is camels on screen.
Yeah, and Peter O'Toole spends quite a lot of time as an actor on the back of a camel.
Yeah, I think I read that he spent so long just trying to learn how to ride a camel. Actually, I read that somewhere in the.
Yeah, by the end of it, he must have got quite good because he seems quite effortless on it.
Yeah, so like when he was riding his camel, he's very sort of confident. He's got his hands held out and everything like that. So he's by the end of the movie, he's very, very confident in his camel skills.
This is true.
Yes. So there's a massive scene at the well. Then it takes forever for Sheriff Ali, obviously Omar Sharif, to come into the scene. It's like, holy shit, was he ever going
Yeah,
to come into the scene? Like it's an excellently shot scene, and I read that they used the lens, Panavision
yeah,
developed this lens, and they never used it again.
because it's ridiculous because he's so far away. It's like a
Yeah.
dot, and you're watching the dot getting closer, and it's actually clearly defined dot, but it's just so tiny. It's a great piece of cinematography, but again, it's a bit long. It's a guy
Yeah.
from very far away, slowly getting. You know what it reminds me of, actually? Oh, it's not the life of Brian. Oh God, dang, another Monty Python movie. The night Sue
Oh
scene.
yeah, 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 yeah,
There's the one
yeah.
scene in it where Michael Palin's like a couple of miles away and he's charging towards a castle. And he's charging, and he's charging. The guys are looking on from the distance, going, "What's going on?" Then next he appears and he stabs them instantly.
Yeah.
Kind of how this happens in this movie because he's miles away, and next he shoots the guide. Bang, dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Yeah, nice introduction for Omar Sharif just to kill a dude that,
He's teaching him some Arabian law. You don't muck with my well.
that's right. Javas, that was his name of the assistant. Yeah, he's dead.
Yep. He died instantly, right in the
Yeah,
face.
yeah. So he has a little back and forth with Lawrence, and Lawrence is going, yeah, as long as you keep on fighting between each other, the Bedouins or Arabs are silly people. That was interesting because that comes back because King Faisal brings that back, and
Yeah, throws it right in
obviously,
his face.
yeah, obviously Sheriff Ali has come back and went, oh, he called us a silly people. Yeah, so he's like, guy, whatever, I'll make my own way, and he's Sheriff Ali's going, yeah, right, you're not going to.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, he does. And then we have another scene, canyon scene, where it's again shot very, very long, and he meets with the white dude who's been around. The next scene is quite good. I like the plane bombing scene. That's very well shot and kind of eerie
It
and
is.
scary.
And howitzers are going off, and there's bombs, and there's people being mowed down, and it shows. I think it's there to describe how ill prepared the Bedouin tribespeople are to engage in modern warfare, even just World War One warfare, because they don't have machines.
Yeah, and obviously they don't even know the tactical knowledge of the planes can to go this far. So you need to go this far. So they're still within range of the bombing runs. And of
Yeah.
course, again, it's it's very naive of them because King Faisal's there going, "Stand and fight."
Well,
Uh,
what do you fight in the airplane with? A
Swords.
sword.
Yeah,
That'll show them. Wave it at them. Arr.
yeah. So yeah, Larry's going. Listen, move south. Let's go. You gotta move out of the range of the planes, dude. So he meets up with King Faisal and sort of gives him his first sort of uh, what's the word? Sort of advice, I guess.
Yeah,
And
so he breaks rank. So he's been instructed to keep his trap shut at this point by the guy he just met with, because
yeah,
obviously the guy he just met with, he's his ranking officer. So what he says should go, but Lawrence, being Lawrence, doesn't really give a damn what he's been told to do. And he opens his trap and kind of contradicts the British line as to what's right for the for Prince Faisal's troops. Because I
yeah,
think the whole way through, even before he meets them, Lawrence has decided, I'm going to help them and try and get them to get their own land type thing. He's decided it before he got there, and he's more on the side of Prince Faisal straight
mm,
away.
yeah, very much so. And then he's sort of he's siding with the Lord, and Faisal's saying the English are hungry for Arabia. And then he mentions the silly people thing to
Yeah.
Larry, and he also mentions we need a miracle. So like, yeah, he comes across Prince Faisal as he's knowledgeable to a certain extent, and he's wise and he's tactical within the realms of the technology he knows, but he sort of
I think at this point,
leans on
yeah,
Larry a bit.
I think at this point, like it's obvious that Prince Faisal knows his limitations. The technological limitations and the amount of force that they can bring to bear to get what they want, which isn't a great deal. So having the ear of Lawrence obviously appeals to him greatly at this point.
Yeah. So you have a little walk into the desert scene. He wants to find himself. He wants to figure out what he wants to do here. The two servants follow him that sort of become his
Chuck a couple of
assistants.
stones at him.
Yeah, he chucked a stone at him. But again, this walk into the desert scene must have lasted for 10 minutes, just showing scenery of the walk into the desert. Kind of biblical in a sense,
It's
walking into the desert.
exactly what I was thinking when I seen the scene as well. It's him just walking off, nothing around them. Then it's very unbiblical when the two lads shook a stone at him. But
Yeah. Well, there
yeah,
was stoning in the Bible too.
oh yeah, just not in the desert.
Who threw that? Him. Sorry.
He's not the Messiah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a very naughty boy.
It's Monty
So
Python links coming
again,
through.
again,
Yeah. So he comes back with the perfect thing. We'll take Aqaba from the land. They're going, what the hell? Let's cross that
yeah,
crazy desert. It'll take you 20 days. All
I
right,
can do
let's
it.
do it.
Yeah, go do it. So he gets given 50 troops. So he originally sets off, tries to sneak off, but Prince Faisal is told by Mr. Sharif, um, which is fair enough because he is, his prince. But he's like, yeah, if you can do it, you crazy effort, go do it.
Yeah. Again, this whole entire scene, then it's pretty much long camel riding
Camels,
montages.
so many
The
camels.
two servants officially become his servants. They catch up and blah blah blah. There's lots of desert, lots of vast panoramas. 20 days. Lawrence drifts off once. He gets whipped by Omar Sharif, and he goes, "I'm not going to do that again." And he doesn't. In fairness to him,
Yeah, yeah.
what I
I
didn't.
was just thinking. No, you weren't.
No, you're
Whack.
dying. Uh, what I didn't like one time during the thing, he starts fucking shaving with water. It's like, what are you doing? Can't take
Yeah.
the British out of the British, really, can you?
Yeah, I guess it's probably true to the character, though. It's ingrained in his persona, and
I
and
did.
I think he spends an awful lot of effort the whole way through the movie. Him, T.E. Lawrence does, not Peter O'Toole, but he's very, very important to him is how people perceive him, and it's quite effective. Like he almost makes himself into a bit of a messiah character because he wants people to perceive him in a certain way. And I think the shaving is part of that.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know why, but
It
that
annoyed you.
it annoyed me, but it also brought up Homer in the dinghy when he's in the dinghy with and he just eats everything and he drinks the water, and he's got a beard on him for one of the
With
little
sugar, do
episodes.
do do do
Yeah,
do. That's the
exactly.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know why it just came into my head. Anyway, then I like the way he was woken up one day and there was like a camel alarm clock going off. Every camel was groaning, getting up.
Oh, that noise is just yeah. Like I guess it's very accurate, but I hate the noise of camels immensely.
I don't like to see camels being just used as you know.
But I guess it's they're a lot in the world, unfortunately. In that,
Yeah, no, they're better equipped too than people as well.
yeah,
But
because
yeah,
horses can't do what those
no,
badass animals can.
no. Uh, so we're getting near the end, but of course, uh, what's his name? Gassim fell off his camel, and Lawrence goes, "All right, I'm going back for him." And Omar Sharif's going,
Yeah,
"Oh,
but
you
he falls
idiot!"
off. He falls off his camel in what they described as the sun's anvil, which is a big expanse of just rock and
Mm.
stone. And as Sharif says, you don't want to be there when the sun comes up. So they cross it at night. And the only way that Sharif said we can survive this is to get across it before the sun comes up. So very important him going back as well. So he goes back and picks up this chap who's mangled and makes it the whole way back, which is incredibly impressive.
And
Uh,
this is where the famous quote comes in: "Nothing is written.
hmm.
Nothing is written," because all the like Sheriff Ali was going, "It's written. He's dead. Nothing is written." But again, we must state that this scene takes forever to
Oh,
and
it does.
every few seconds, every few minutes, there's a picture of the sun with like dramatic music. It's like, yeah, we get it. It's hot.
Yeah, it is. It's used to describe just misery in the sun.
Yeah,
But as you say,
was
we
pretty
get it.
miserable. Yeah.
Yeah,
And again, it's a speck on the horizon thing was used in that situation too. It's like, oh my god, are we gonna have to wait till it comes into the scene again?
pretty much. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Anyway, they he gets back to camp and Sharif burns his robes and gives him his new robes that he pretty much keeps for the rest of the
Yeah,
movie.
a bit of a dick move. Let's be honest. He didn't ask to have his clothes set fire to.
True, true. The whole dagger prancing around scene was ad libbed by Peter O'Toole. I
Was it? I
read.
thought that was a great scene.
Yeah, pretty theatrical, and that's all. That's Peter for you.
Yeah, yeah, and it fits the character very well in that. Again, he's trying to project a persona, and he's trying to figure out what works best.
Yeah. Again, they're at a well, and Auda Abu Tayi comes along with his son and goes, "Yo, get the hell out of my well."
This chap's got cojones because he turns up by himself and starts giving 50 Bedouin lads a bit of grief.
Yeah, yeah. So he goes anyway. I think Larry brings him around. And he goes, "All right, let's go have some dinner in my place in Wadi Ram. Let's go."
Yeah, and his place in Wadi Ram has 1,000 troops, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, but I like so they're sitting down with the lad Abu, I think his name is, and he has a bit of a good scene there, and he's going, "Am I a servant?" It's this just sort of he thinks like Lawrence is sort of portraying that you've been paid by the Turks here, what 20 gold a week or whatever. You're a servant to the Turks, and he doesn't like that at all. But that wouldn't have changed him. That didn't change his mind to help them attack Aqaba. It's like, yeah,
No,
the
yeah,
gold
he's
is in there, man. Let's
the
go get it.
super pragmatic character, this chap. But Lawrence is he's a wily chap. He knows how to manipulate people.
Yeah. So they have a long trek to Aqaba. It's cue montages of camels and
Oh, it's
deserts.
so many camels and horses this time.
Yes, they've joined in because Abu's lads have horses. I liked it. It was quite cool with the entire movie has no female characters. That must be said. There's no,
There
and you
are a
notice it.
few, and there are a few in the background, but not one of them utters one word.
No, but they're wailing on the way out to
Yes.
Aqaba, which is quite eerie and quite cool. They're wailing and they're just singing, and the men are singing and the women are wailing.
And Lawrence is loving it.
Oh yeah, he loves it. He's like, oh yeah, this is my kind of deal.
Yeah.
But
I'll have some more of that, says he.
yeah, so I've really sort of noticed. I was waiting for his. I don't know. I guess romantic foils, are annoying at times. So maybe this movie is sort of
I'm
one of those.
delighted there isn't a damsel in distress or any of that nonsense that you'd find in most movies.
Yeah,
No, I'm not delighted there is no lady roles in it. Like, I guess it fits that there isn't any female characters because the story doesn't really have any.
yeah. So you're not unhappy that there's no lady parts in the movie.
I like lots of men parts.
You got him.
Yeah, it is an unusual setup, but the story is about a bunch of Bedouin guys who, to be honest, didn't really let the ladies talk all that much. So having ladies talking all the time would be strange.
Yeah, it was quite well perceived at the time for portraying Arabian culture quite accurately, and yeah, let's leave it at that. Uh,
Yes, yes.
so yeah, tell us about the comeback from him saving Gassim from the desert.
Yeah, so just before they storm Aqaba, both sets of both tribes, the 50 lads from from the Prince
Faisal,
and Faisal and from
Abu.
Abu, they're all shacked up together, having a bit of a rest after their long journey, and then a bit of a shindig, not a shindig, but of a commotion kicks off, and Lawrence runs over and is like, what the hell's going on? Both sides have squared off against each other, and Abu says, "This is over. We're done." Um,
Because somebody's
that
dead.
because somebody's dead, lying on the ground. Somebody had stabbed somebody over a blood feud. So he's like, "Okay, this is terrible." And then he figures out for himself, "Okay, what's the justice here? Well, we have to kill him, but if they kill him, then the blood feud kicks off again from the other side, and then it's a big bloody it's a mess." So he thinks to himself, "Okay, well, I can execute the guy. I'm not part of either tribe." And everybody sits around and looks at each other and goes, "Yeah, that'll work." Until he finds out, oh, the chap I have to kill, I just picked up from the bloody Sun's Alpha. He was my
It's
mate. Oh no!
it's good the way they shot it though, because his head is bowed and it slowly comes up, and then his reaction is extreme
Oh,
close up
his
as well.
face falls. It's so well acted as well.
Yeah.
He's there holding his gun. He thinks he's coming with a great solution. I'm brilliant. And then he sees his mate, and he's like, "Oh, that's not awesome."
And then he shoots him.
He shoots the absolute crap out of him. The first shot,
Yeah, because he's rolling around, isn't he, or something?
yeah, he moves around, but the first shot, there's pain in Lawrence's face. The second shot, not so much pain. And subsequent four shots, he seems to be enjoying himself a little bit. There's a bit of a smile going on. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because in a couple of scenes' time, he's talking to the new General Allenby back in Cairo, and he's going, "I enjoyed it," and the general's going, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah. Listen, what's the general say? Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, we'll give you a warning for that. Yeah, will we? Okay, yeah, will that be enough?
Yeah. All right. Okay. Here's a gripe I have with the movie. It's taken so long. It spent so much time on the scenery getting to Aqaba. The fight is not even shown.
Oh, the fight's over in 10 seconds. They just stormed them.
We see the storming
Yeah,
from
but
a vantage point of a cannon. Then it just focuses on the cannon,
that's
and
it.
then it lingers there for about a minute.
I think the point being is that they captured pretty much everybody in the first 10 minutes of the storming. Like, because they're hitting them with cavalry from the back and they've got no real weapons pointing in that direction.
And
So
I
it's
guess
just over
yeah.
like that.
And I get the point of focusing on the cannon, because the cannons are pointing to sea. That's the whole point. They did it from the desert because they can't be turned around. But again, I was a bit disappointed. It's an epic movie. I would have liked to have seen a bit more. action getting Aqaba. I heard it's actually not historically accurate anyway. It's the big fight happened outside of Aqaba or something, and they just wandered in, I think, from what I heard. Also, I heard...
So the troops actually, I missed this a bit when I was Googling them. So the troops met them outside the city, was it?
I don't know. I think there was a fort outside the city, 50 kilometers away or something.
Ah, okay.
And then...
It wouldn't have been as dramatic, I guess. Not that it was all that dramatic, to be honest.
No. Also, I read something on the trivia thing that bloody Lawrence stumbled off his camel getting into this Aqaba place and shot his camel in the head or something.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
Christ.
Poor camel.
Poor camel is right.
Yeah, so that's the only injury he took or something on the Aqaba, is like he fell because he shot his camel in the head, and obviously the camel fell over.
Probably not all that well after being shot in the head.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't good. So, so he basically, not a second after he arrives, he goes, yeah, I'm off to Cairo. I'll go across the Sinai desert. And Abu's there going, yo, there's no gold here.
He's holding a bunch of money in his hand, but doesn't really recognize paper money.
No, that's not for them. So, yeah, so he goes, listen, I'll be back. Here's an IOU from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And you can see it kind of in Sharif's face. It's like, oh, yeah, you're coming back. Oh, yeah.
I found it interesting.
Not that sure of it.
I found it interesting too. Like, he was writing from right to left on the thing until he wrote his signature, and I didn't look that up on the trivia or anything.
I completely missed that. God, yes, because Arabic script goes the other direction.
Yeah, it was kind of cool to see that level of detail. So he drops his compass on the way to Sinai. It's windy, lots of wind,
sandstorms, sandstorms.
Yeah. And then we have the trope of quicksand.
Oh yeah,
which actually doesn't exist. I read
in the desert. No,
not during this, but years ago I read. Yeah, I remember, because I remember I was fearful of quicksand as a kid because it was constantly in movies. And then it doesn't actually exist, quicksand.
It only exists in The Princess Bride.
True. Anyway, one of his assistants dies. He gets sucked in. It's kind of like Krull. From the scene from Krull.
Very much like the scene from... They try really hard to get him out. He takes his robe off, makes a rope out of it, and chucks it at him. He manages to grab hold of it for about 15 seconds, and then...
Done.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So
this hurts Lawrence. Like, this one actually hurts Lawrence in comparison to shooting his friend in the face, which he kind of enjoyed. Losing a servant chap kind of...
Yeah. He's guilty.
Gets done. Yeah,
he's guilty of that. So they find this little house, and his other servants constantly just going, Orange, 20 times. They're like, shut the fuck up.
It's like, Dan.
Yes, Dan. But Lawrence is in a sort of a stupor. He's not happy. Obviously,
he's wiped. Yeah,
he's wiped. And then it was cool actually, because the scene just showing the canal. There's this big boat going past the sand.
I actually love that, because you've got the sand dunes in the back, and you see the stacks of the ship going past, and it's just a weird scene. It's a real scene. This is how it looks. Yeah, it's just very unusual and real.
And then they're on the canal, and somebody across this other side of the canal goes, "Who are you?" And that's actually David Lean, the director.
I did not know that.
I just found it out very, very quite before the podcast. Just looking up some things. Oh, there you go. So anyway, they get to Cairo, and the two of them just walk dirtily into the pub where all the officers are. You can see the colonialistic sort of approach to everything. It's like, what the hell are these? Get out of here. Actually, I realized, I know that building. I went to that building in Sevilla. This isn't Cairo. It's the big building in Sevilla.
I've been in it too. It's not Cairo.
No, and it's also where Phantom Menace was shot too.
Yeah,
those little things. Actually, so he goes in there, blah blah blah, and they get 2 drinks. The new
2 lemonades.
Yeah, he likes your lemonade. That was a weird sentence, I thought. He goes up to the general, says he took Aqaba. He's going, what? And then he says, he tells him about his kills that he's done.
Our side got Aqaba, the wogs and us. So he was using his racial slur in this as well.
Yeah, and he was.
he was like, he's kind of sees himself as kind of one of them. He's still a bit racist in there.
Yeah, and he's like, he also says, Arabia is for the Arabs. That's what they think.
Yeah. So part of me thinks he's kind of playing the general against himself as well.
Kind of, yeah. He also I read today, so from the time that they did the scene in the office when he's talking, he said, all right, let's go down and grab a drink. And the shots are showing them walking down. Of course, they have to show every bloody corridor they walk down.
Well, of course.
And then into the bar. That was taken, those two scenes were taken 1 year apart.
Get away.
Yeah, and then like Peter O'Toole said in an interview, I think with Johnny Carson, he's like, yeah, so I was 1 year older after from one scene to the next. Sort of
That's
crazy.
nuts.
Yeah, I think they took 2 years to film the actual movie.
There's a scene just in the bar before the general turns up, or before his boss turns up, and an officer walks in and goes, "What's going on here?" All I could think of was, "What's going on here? We'll have no trouble."
Yeah, I know.
League of Gentlemen style. I was like,
Yeah.
please keep going. I love this, but I didn't.
This is a local pub for local soldiers.
Exactly.
We'll have no trouble here. So anyway, yeah, they're walking away after they go to the bar and blah blah blah, and he's the other guy is saying to the general, "Are you actually really giving them artillery?" Nah, not going to do that.
Yeah, and I think Lawrence is not surprised when he doesn't get artillery. It doesn't even show him finding this out either, though.
No,
I think it's kind of implied that he knows he's not getting it.
Yeah. Well, this marks the point. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes into the movie, and it's intermission time, and you're like going, Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Is this when you stopped it for?
I actually stopped after the Aqaba scene.
Okay.
I'm done. I'm tired.
Yeah.
So much sun.
I started. I don't like sand. It's coarse. It's rough, and it gets everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched this movie last night at 7 o'clock. It wasn't until 20 to 11 I was done.
You had to start at breakfast.
My entire Sunday evening where I want to relax before work was just disappeared. It basically disappeared. Like we can talk in the intermission now a little bit while the movie stopped. Like I enjoyed the fact that I watched it. I don't believe I've watched it fully before, so I'm glad that I've watched it, because obviously it's for bragging rights, as well as just everybody should watch this movie because it's
like saying I watched or read War and Peace.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do that. What do you think I am? Crazy.
Yeah.
War and Peace first, the original title was War, What Is It Good For?
Absolutely
nothing. Seinfeld quote, sorry. All right. Second intermission, second half. We were introduced to Bentley, the journalist from the Chicago Courier, who basically in real life wrote about Lawrence of Arabia, and that's why he's become this cult figure even before the movie came out. Right? He's right. That's what happened. Yeah?
I believe that's what happened. Yeah. This is in Cairo. He's chatting away to the general.
He's talking to Lord Faisal.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. And this isn't in Cairo at all. This is actually in Aqaba.
Aqaba, yeah. He's going, where's Larry? He's out and about. Yeah, I'm heading to Cairo in a bit too, so see you later.
Ta-ra, Chuck.
So I think he's actually shown up. Oh, actually no. He talks about the Geneva Convention or something. That was quite interesting because I'm reading up about that. Yeah, we leave no wounded for the Turks. That's what he says.
Yeah, because he does. They believe that the Turks won't treat prisoners according to the Geneva Convention because they are less than men in the eyes of the Turks because they're rebels or some such.
Right. So yeah, I think Lord Faisal goes, "Are you looking for a hero?"
Lawrence is your boy.
Yeah. All right, so we have a train ambush next, one of probably 3 that happens, and Bentley is with them at this stage, and Laro's there, and they won't stop shooting for him, and that's that's quite telling, that scene. It's like, because they're all gung-ho for the booty that's in the train.
Yeah. Yeah, and they get that booty.
Oh yeah, and then they leg it every time. It's like, where's my army gone? They're gone now because they got what they wanted. They're
They
bandits
got paid,
basically.
so he
Yeah,
loses about 200, 300 troops every time he hits a
per
train.
train.
Yeah, but I think is this the one where he's dancing about on top of the train? And
This is what I was like. Just he did a Jesus Christ pose on the top of the train. Like this is where his braggadociousness comes in, and I found that's a bit. I don't know. I find that's his weakness as a character. He wants that adoration and adulation different than adoration. Same thing, right?
in my head, it is
Yeah.
until
Hopefully.
I Google it later.
Yeah. What the hell were you saying? Yeah. So he gets shot by an injured Turk, and then he constantly fires at him again. It's kind of like the Pulp Fiction scene where he just shoots and keeps
Yeah,
on
but he
missing.
just looks at him, with the expectation that he's not going to be hit again because
Yeah.
I'm Lawrence. You can't kill me.
Yeah. So yeah, so he's talking to Bentley then, isn't he? And he's just sort of he gets saved by. Actually, no, yeah, Abu cuts him
Abu,
down with a sword, the Turkish guy, and Bentley's going, "Oh, I never saw somebody get killed by a sword before," as if he hadn't just seen somebody get decapitated, you know?
yeah, and that's I have an issue with this line and then a line later on in the movie with Bentley's character in that
Hmm.
he seems to enjoy the decapitation of a Turk and then later on doesn't like the multiple decapitations and shootings that he comes across.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. True.
So,
Uh,
one versus 1,000, what's the difference?
yeah, he has a look of shock when he comes across that later on, but we'll get to that in a few minutes, hopefully. So yeah, there's a couple of things. He does come across a little Anakin Skywalker because Bentley asks him, "What do you like about Arabia?" And he goes, "It's clean." So it's sort of like he focuses on the tangible physical aspects of it instead of any sort of cultural things where Anakin Skywalker's the opposite, but he's talking still about the physicalities of it. It's like I hate sand, it's coarse and it gets everywhere. I don't know why I thought about Star Wars so much through this thing, but there's definitely George Lucas definitely did something
Oh,
here.
hugely influenced by this movie.
Because it's George Lucas's script writing is horrendous, so I'm no doubt that he took aspect of amazing scripts and went, yeah, let's take that and turn it into I hate sand instead of it's clean.
Yeah. My guess or my take on that, its clean line was that perhaps he finds the lack of politics and the lack of BS is clean and simple.
Yeah, that's a good way. It's a multi-meaning answer. Yeah, I just take it for granted at face level. So yeah, that's
There's
good.
nothing clean in my head about the bloody desert. It's sand. It's crap. I'm with Anakin on this one. It gets bloody everywhere.
All right, there's another train ambush full of lovely horses. Lovely horses.
Running through the fields, huh?
Yeah, with their fetlocks flowing. Yeah, so all the Bedouins go home with the horses then.
Yeah, he's left with like 200 troops now, having started off with at least 1,000. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not great.
No. So then he's got a skeleton crew for the next. We jump directly to the next train ambush when he's trying to get a detonator.
Oh, actually,
And
so
of
it's
course,
not two. I wrote down 20, not 200. He's got 20 men at this point.
yeah, he doesn't have a lot at all. Yeah, so he's got Farage, his last assistant that he hasn't killed yet, but he soon will.
Nigel.
Nigel Farage's ancestor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Farage he loses a detonator in his robes, and I don't know.
It's kind of a silly thing to do, to be honest, because you've put a small explosive device down your jocks, and then it goes missing, and you go, eh.
Yeah, it's like put it behind your ear like a cigarette, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It's about that size.
If it falls down your jocks and you trip over, bad things happen, and that's exactly what happens to Nigel's ancestor.
Yeah. So again, but it's faced, and they bring it up. Hey, you can't leave him here now. He's injured, and they're going to go nuts on him. So for the second time in the movie, he pops a cap in his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, he doesn't enjoy. I don't think he enjoys it this time. He doesn't seem to be loving it.
Yeah. No, that's he has a face of anguish. We found out quite quickly that the Turks have 20,000 on Lawrence's head.
That's good money.
And he says, "Do you think I'm just anybody, Ali?" When he mentions, so that's another sort of, he's quite
Yeah, at this point, he's starting to believe.
pompous.
Yeah. Prior to this, I was of the belief that the pomposity was a show and it was part of what he was doing to get what he wants. But at this point, in my head, and I think in his head, he believes the hype. I am the Messiah. I am the savior of the Arab rising.
Yeah. Then he has a stupid idea of saying, "I'm going to disguise myself as a dude and prance myself into Dara." And this is when we find.
I'm not sure what the purpose of this. Like, there's two of them. They're having a nice little jaunt into the village.
Yeah. Was it to do with Reki?
I don't know, because there was no discussion as to what the purpose was. He just said, "I'm going to walk in there," and left it at. Yeah. Okay, like, are you going to storm the garrison by yourself? Okay.
Yeah, so he gets picked up because he's got blue eyes and blonde hair. So gets picked
kind
up.
of stands out a bit.
Yeah, gets picked up by the hilariously named Turkish Bey, played by Jose Ferrer. Yeah, I read that Jose Ferrer was not happy with his very small part, but he's pretty good in it for the amount of minutes he's there. He's quite good. But I don't know.
He's pretty creepy in it, especially, like, it's no surprise that he gets a bit of a beating.
He gets beating, yeah.
But they don't think. I think the line was, "You're not Lawrence. We're not that lucky." Just to be sure, shoot him. Why not?
Yeah.
Don't just beat him and let him go.
Yeah, I threw him into a puddle of crap.
Into the Sarlacc pit with him.
Yeah. I like that. Actually, I noticed when he fell into the just his mucky puddle. Basically, he grips the crap that's around him because he's in so much pain. I just noticed that little hand acting. I thought the Coffin General Turkish Bey would come back into it because he had that sort of. Oh, I remember him. He's the Coffin General. If he came back later, because I realized there was another hour left in the movie by now, so it's like, oh no, he should come back and he needs to be dealt with in Dara. But you don't see him when they go into Dara then, do they?
Nope.
No. Oh, he gets back and he's in pain, and all he does is sleep, eat.
Well, I don't think they go back into Dara, actually. I think they go.
No, they go back to a cave. The cave, but the camels are in the cave too. That was funny for me. Camels are in the background, chilling out in the back of the cave too, or the front of the cave. Lawrence is staring into distance, and
he's a bit of a broken man at this point.
Yeah, so he's like, "I'm out of here. Like, I see a way of being ordinarily happy," which is quite nice. And he's going to Sharif. "Can I have your coat?"
Sharif's like, "What?" Yeah,
yeah.
Get your own coat.
Yeah. So he heads back to Cairo, and he's going back in, and one of the guys go, "Oh yeah, not bad. Yeah, we built a squash court. Oh, great. That's nice of you. It's nice to have a squash court." So anyway, he goes into the office and he's not happy to see Faisal there. He's kind of confused and a bit.
Faisal kicks the freaking boot in, though, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. Almost an Arab or something, he says.
So that, and he says, "Oh, is it Lawrence or is it Major Lawrence?"
Yeah, who are you? Who are you playing for?
You? Yeah.
You got your uniform on, basically. Yeah, so you're back to being British colonialists.
Yeah.
Anyway, he leaves. Yeah, he leaves the room, and this is when the Sykes-Picot Treaty gets brought up, and France and England coming together to shove Turkey out of the Arab Peninsula.
But they're not taking Turkey out of the Arab Peninsula for the sake of the Arabians. They're taking it for themselves. Is what this treaty or this agreement it basically entails. And Lawrence is not that impressed by this.
No. But he goes back though.
He does.
Back to Damascus.
There's a bit of some interesting maneuvering from the general here, because the general recognizes the usefulness of Lawrence right now, and then the troops that he can bring to bear. So he works on his narcissism, basically saying, "You're not an ordinary man, Lawrence. You're something more." And
yeah,
you're right. I'm great. I'll go back.
He just mentioned a couple of things. I have no Arab friends and things like that. So he's a very confused man at this point. I think
Yeah, yeah.
it didn't go as planned. I think he wanted his followers to stay with him, and it didn't happen because they basically are
His nose was put out of joint by
tribal.
but because the lads had went home with all their gear.
Yeah,
Now he was aware that they would come back as well, but he was also miffed by it.
yeah. So anyway, off he goes, and we have dichotomy in the plot now. We've got the official army planning their assault, and then we've got the Arab parties that have come out in force for Lawrence, and he's very happy about that.
Yeah, it kind of reinforces his narcissism again, and his messiah complex is turned up to 11 now because everybody turned up.
Yeah, and so they run into the back of a column of Turk soldiers, and he's got this. I don't know. The camera lingers on him, and he's going, "Hmm, ah, get charge." No, he doesn't. He doesn't
Well,
quite know until the guy goes out and he gets shot down by a machine gun. And then that
yeah.
kind of spurs him into it. Like, okay, let's kill everybody in this column.
Now, it's worth noting at this point that they just passed the village that the column of
True.
Turkish troops who are running away, effectively retreating, mangled. They killed women and children, and hence the lad just running at them with a sword drawn
Yeah.
without any care for his own safety.
Yeah.
He gets
Yeah.
mangled by the Turks, and then Lawrence is like, "Okay, that's it. You're
Yeah.
dead." But Sharif is like, "No, Lawrence, don't do it. We've got a job."
Yeah. Sharif was a bit reluctant. Then Lawrence loved it. Covered in blood at the end of it all.
Yeah, he goes a bit berserk.
You can see mechanically them not on the camels when they're swinging their swords at the people. It's just like they're solid and they're swinging the camera's going with them and they're just swinging swords, and it's
Yeah,
very
my take in is that they're probably in the back of some sort of jeep or something on a
yeah,
plank,
yeah, yeah, for
holding onto the
sure.
sword.
Yeah. Anyway, they make it to Damascus, and it's just a shit show. The Arab Council is terrible. They don't know how to work because they're all tribes, and they have never done democracy
Yeah,
or
and they can't
politics
work. They
before.
can't work together because they all hate each other.
Yeah, and then there's a fire, so it just totally cripples everybody, and everybody just pisses off.
But meanwhile, like the lads from the British Army are like, well, we could. Some of the like the engineer corps and the medical
Yeah,
division all want to jump in and help, but the general at the top's like, no, no, sit and wait, sit and wait. They'll come looking for help, and then we take what we want,
yeah.
and it works.
Pretty much. They knew what would happen. They knew the geopolitics of it all. That they're obviously good at infrastructure because that's what they did around the world with colonialism.
Mhm.
And yeah, the hospital was a shit show, and
Yeah, in fairness, they dropped the ball there. It's a Turkish military hospital or something like that, but it's got
yeah,
no water, it had no electricity, there's no phone line coming out of it, so they couldn't go and ask for help. So all the sick people were left to die and die
yeah, it
of
was terrible.
starvation and thirst.
It was terrible. That Arab Council thing was just so annoying. They had no clue what they were going to do, and they just
Oh, that was
left.
the problem. They'd only planned so far.
Well, yeah, they just probably went and got lots of loot and then legged it again. Probably they don't see.
They liked the idea at the time, I guess. I think that's the point. They liked the idea of them
Mm,
taking Damascus, but when they get it, they're like, we didn't really talk about what we do. We got here.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, he does mention. I think maybe his last. I don't know if it's his last sentence he says, but he says, "I pray that I may never see the desert again."
Yeah, but I think Abu says to them at that point, you'll always need the desert.
Mm. Pretty much the movie ends with him in the jeep, just traveling out of the desert towards the airport, I guess.
Yep.
And while all the politicians, all the guys in the brass are mentioning how to, as you said, organize the whole city and area with, you know,
Prince Faisal. And Prince Faisal at this point is in negotiations about, who gets what. And he proves himself to be reasonably astute politician. He
mm.
hold on to some power anyway.
Yeah, I heard that Alec Guinness totally just went in and copied him, straight up, and people were thinking he was the real Prince Faisal, and Jordan when they were there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right, so the end happens 3 hours and 47 minutes later. So what's your vibe? What's your feeling about watching it?
I feel older.
Yeah, you're right. You are older.
It was a long movie. Listen, it is a good movie. I enjoyed it,
Yeah,
but I could have done would have been 2.5 hours.
I enjoy movies that are 2 hours ish. I don't mind if it's a big epic. 2.5 hours is fine, but every movie I like 2 hours, and that's nice.
I'm the same. I'm the same. Hour and a half, even better. Right?
Yeah. No, that's fine.
I
Yeah,
like I like a nice punchy movie. Like I know I mentioned this maybe yesterday yourself, but something like Roald Dahl's short stories that we watched recently,
yeah.
like you can do an awful lot very quickly if you really try.
Oh yeah. I think David Lean. Obviously, this was his.
That was his thing.
His thing. Yeah, he wanted that long epic tale to be told with high production values. All right, I gave the plot 3.75 out of 5. Yeah,
Yeah, I went 3.5. It's yeah, it's reasonably historically accurate. There are obviously chunks that are done for artistic value. It's an interesting story. It doesn't overly paint either or any of the sides all that well, which I like. It doesn't
yeah.
paint the British that well. It doesn't paint the Turks all that well. It doesn't paint the Arab Rising all that well. So everybody's crap and everybody's in it for themselves is basically what the movie gets to. And the story and the geopolitical nonsense around it, it's good. It's good. It's reasonably accurate in my head.
Yeah. So, but with a movie that length, you can't really have crazy amounts of dialogue, or you're just going to lose the plot, literally.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it just becomes a bore. But then what this movie does is fill it up with minutes long panoramas, which is stunning. But yeah, I think maybe in
Yeah.
2024 we're very much a oh yeah, that's nice, and then move on
We're
type of
we're we're
viewers.
we're all about TikTok now. 30
Of
seconds, we're
course,
done.
yes. Follow our channel. Yeah, so that's the plot. Acting, I gave 3.75 as well. Fine, it was good. Peter O'Toole obviously steals the show, but everybody else is quite strong in the background. Omar Sharif,
Very good as well,
very
I thought.
good. Don't forget he played a role in Top Secret! Exclamation point! The very funny spoof Val Kilmer movie. That's a underrated Naked Gun type esque movie who so he goes from Lawrence of Arabia to Top Secret spoof. Yeah, so yeah, 3.75 for me. What about you?
I went four.
Four,
I
yeah.
thought Peter O'Toole, some moments, his crazed expressions and his pained expressions, he was very good as a very broken messiah type character. He plays
Yeah.
it in incredibly well. And Alec Guinness is few minutes. He's not in it all that much, but he comes across very good. And as you said, Omar Sharif, legend.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Sound brackets track. I gave 3.25. It's the general theme of the movie with the general one line, like probably whatever, 10, 15 notes is constantly repeated. And I just get a bit bored when that sort of stuff happens. So I wouldn't mind it to be a bit more sort of spread out with different tunes, but it's a seminal tune that you know it
That
when
it
you
is.
hear it. But again, not my cup of tea. 3.25.
I went 3.5. As you say, it's a one string pony, like a one string pony, one trick pony. There's not much to it in terms of music. Now it is rearranged a few different ways throughout the movie, and it is a very strong trick that this pony has. But that's not enough for more than 3.5 in my head.
Yeah, yeah. Won an Oscar though, obviously. So what do we know?
we're idiots,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. Production, obviously, I'm giving 4.25 for it just because it is one of these movies in cinema history that went there, and for the time it was in, was innovative and breathtaking to
Yeah,
look at. And even now in 2024, looking at the scenery and the panorama and just the cinematography of it and the attention to detail with the sets and thousands of camels, thousands of extras, you gotta give them credit where credit is due.
Absolutely. And on the production, I put down 4, and I'd like to draw an analysis between this and the Sean Connery movie we watched a few episodes back,
Wind in the Line.
The Wind in
Yeah.
the Line, and the difference in production quality in this and that. Even though The Wind in the Line is substantially after this, this kicks the absolute crap out of it. No bendy swords.
No bendy swords. He's got a knife in his back.
Yeah, that's just bad acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, the production's great. The cinematography is fantastic. And the amount of production in this, the amount of, as you say, people, animals, everything just is so well done.
Yeah, well, you can see if you look at The Wind in the Line after watching this, you can see they desperately wanted to make it. They found that story, The Wind in the Line, and said, yeah, this could be another Lawrence of Arabia thing going on here. So,
Nope.
nope. So yeah, every review on Metacritic is 100%. So the Chicago Sun-Times, Roger Ebert back in the day, he said, "What a bold, mad act of genius it was to make Lawrence of Arabia, or even think that it could be made." The TV Guide magazine said, "David Lean's splendid biography of the enigmatic T.E. Lawrence paints a complex portrait of the desert-loving Englishman who united Arab tribes in battle against the Ottoman Turks during World War One." It's not really a review; that's just sort of
Stating fact.
stating facts.
Well done.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing really else of note in any of those reviews on Metacritic. It's because it was re-released. It's a 20 something re-release, and the reviews are about the 40th anniversary re-release. So there's not a lot there. There's only 8 there, but that's fine. So let's leave Lawrence of Arabia out in the desert to die, unlike Gazim, and
let's drink from the well of another movie.
yeah. So that's the end of our long run of Oscar quality winners, and so we're back to our original 15K plus random movies, and obviously next week is the Oscars, so enjoy that. But we will go back to regular scheduling, and let's pick a number here and see what we're going to get out of 15,000K plus movies. We got 3,705, so hopefully not too bad. All right, so 3705 is actually a movie from last year, 2023. It's a movie called Air.
Air Bud?
No, it's about... so here's the summary. Air reveals the unbelievable game-changing partnership between a then-rookie Michael Jordan and Nike's fledgling basketball division, which revolutionized the world of sports and contemporary culture with the Air Jordan brand. The moving story follows the career-defining gamble of an unconventional team with everything on the line, the uncompromising vision of a mother who knows the worth of her son's immense talent, and the basketball phenom who would become the greatest of all time.
You're gonna love the...
I know. Yeah. Directed by Ben Affleck, stars Matt Damon, of course, Jason Bateman, Ben Affleck, of course, Viola Davis, Chris Tucker's in it. Yeah. So
I love Jason Bateman. That's about it. Viola Davis can be pretty good as well, actually.
I don't mind. I like sneakers, so it should be an okay movie. We're happy it's 1 hour and 51 minutes long.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's got a meta score of 73 and a user score of 7.2. So we're back to normality.
This sounds like a reasonably okay movie.
Yeah, I think I'll enjoy it, actually. Hopefully Ben Affleck's not in it for too long, and that'll be fine.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon as well. Okay, so that is the end of episode 48. We'll see you in episode 49 for Air and Ben Affleck. Bye-bye.
Cheerio.